Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at the study guide for this unit test. The first part is on the second lesson. I am not including the first lesson of this unit. So let's begin by looking at how to change the equation into standard form. All right, so remember FOIL. And again, I'm going to use the box when I do this. So I'm going to create my 2 by 2 box. On top, I'm going to put 2x minus 3, and on the side, I'm going to put 3x plus 5. Okay, now I'm going to multiply. I'm going to FOIL. So I'm going to multiply these, and I get 6x squared. All right, here I'm going to multiply the 3x and the negative 3, and I'm going to get negative 9x. And then 5 times 2x, I'm going to get 10x. And the negative 3 times the 5, I get negative 15. Okay, remember these two corners, you can combine them. So we get 6x squared. Combining those two corners, we get plus 1x. And then we have the minus 15. And that one's done. All right, number 2, we've got a little extra. You'll notice that there's a 2 in front of that. But first, we're going to have to FOIL this part of it. So again, I'm going to do the box. X plus 3, x minus 7. I'm going to FOIL that, so x times x, that gives me x squared. This gives me 3x. These two give me minus or negative 7x, and this would be negative 21. Again, these two corners, we're going to combine them. But remember, there's a 2 in front, all right? We've got a 2 right here, so when I write this, I'm going to go 2 times. Okay, this would be x squared. This would be minus 4x minus 21. Now, I have to distribute. So I end up with 2x squared minus 8x and minus 42. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Okay, remember these are in vertex form. When they look like that, those are in vertex form. But we want to turn them into standard form. So again, we're going to use the box. So I'm going to draw a 2 by 2 box. Now this says x plus 6 squared. That means I'm going to put x plus 6 on the side and on the top. I'm going to FOIL that. All right, I'm going to be again combining these two corners, but please make note that there is a minus 5 in the back. So when I write this out, I'm going to have x squared plus 12x plus 36, and then I have that minus 5 in the back. Well, the final answer will be x squared plus 12x plus 31. Because 36 minus 5 gives us 31. All right, one more. Number 4. Again, this part right here, I'm going to FOIL. All right, so FOILing that, I get 4x squared, 2x, 2x, and I get a 1 here. I'm still going to be combining these two corners. But now look, we've got a minus 3 in the front, and we've got that plus 4, so we need to be really careful here. All right, I'm going to write out what's in the boxes first. Okay, and I'm going to go down here. I have a little bit more room. So I'm going to write this. So, well, first, I've got that -3 in front. Now, the inside of those boxes, that would be 4x squared plus 4x plus 1, close it. And then we have that plus 4 in the back. All right, well, I'm going to need to distribute that -3. Okay, let me switch colors here. So I'm going to need to distribute this -3 to those three terms. All right, when I do that, I get -12x squared plus 12x minus 3, and then I still have that plus 4 in the back. All right, so the final answer is going to be, because we're going to have to combine these two terms right here. So we're going to take and write it out, -12x squared plus 12x plus 1. All right, there is our final answer. All right, so that's the first part. Let's go ahead and look at lesson number 3. In lesson number 3, remember, we did some factoring. All right, so in this first example, we've got x squared plus 11x plus 28. So we want to find factors of 28 that will add to 11. Okay, well, factors of 28, the only ones I can think of that are going to add to 11 are 4 and 7. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 plus 7 is 11. So that means my factors are x plus 4 and x plus 7. Now, that's factored. Now, find the solutions. Okay, remember the solutions. We ask what will make x plus 4 equal 0? Well, that would be -4. So x equals -4. And the other one is x equals -7. Okay, if you forgot how to do that, go back and watch the video for lesson number 3. All right, number 2 is a special factoring case. It's a difference of two squares. Sorry, my handwriting is not as good when I'm writing upright like this. All right, so 9x squared is a perfect square, and the 49 is a perfect square, and there's a minus sign in the middle. So if you recall from my lesson, we're going to put a minus and a plus, and then the square root of 9x squared is 3x, so we're going to put 3x, 3x, and the square root of 49 is 7, so we put a 7 here and a 7 here. Okay, difference of two squares. Now the solutions will be, so this solution will be +7 over 3, and this solution will be -7 over 3. So +7/3 and -7/3. All right. Number 3 is a special case also, okay, because you'll notice that 16 is a perfect square and 36 is a perfect square. But this one's not called a difference of two squares. Okay, this is called a perfect square trinomial. All right, so here we go. So we're going to take this, and the square root of 16w is 4w. 4w. The square root of 36 is 6. 6. Now, there's a minus in the center. Okay, -48. Well, where did the -48 come from? Well, if you think about this, 4 times 6, 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 6 is 24, and if I add those together, that's going to give me 48. However, I want a -48. So that means, whoops, sorry about that. Let me back that up. Okay, that means I'm going to want a minus in both of them. Okay, perfect square trinomial. Now, since they're identical, that means the solution, there's only one of them because if they're identical, that would be positive 6 over 4. And you should reduce that to 3 over 2. So that is the solution to that one. All right, number 4 is going to be a bit more challenging because we're going to have to factor using the box. So I'm going to put my 6x squared here, and I'm going to put my minus 35 here. Now, remember in the video, we're going to take these two corners and we're going to multiply them. All right, so when I multiply those two corners together, I get negative 210. Now, I want factors. Now, the middle term is 1x. I want to find two factors that are going to add up to 1x. Okay, well, that would be 15 and negative 14. Okay, if you don't believe me, let's check it. Okay, 15 times negative 14. Yep, that's negative 210. 15 plus negative 14 adds up to 1. All right, so those are the two factors of negative 210 that add up to 1. So in one corner, I'm going to put 15x, and in the other corner, I'm going to put negative 14x. All right, now GCF time. So the top two have what in common? 2x. The bottom two have what in common? 5. The left two have what in common? 3x. The right two, keeping the sign closest to the edge, the left two have minus or negative 7 in common. So my factors are 3x minus 7 and 2x plus 5. So what are my solutions? Positive 7 over 3, negative 5 over 2. Those are the two solutions. Right? If you need to, rewind it, watch that part again. That one is just a bit more challenging. All right, let's move on. What's next? Okay, well, being able to use the quadratic formula. So again, you should have that memorized. Okay, I'm not going to write it up here because I don't have space for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug the numbers in right away. So here we go. So we got x, let me back that up again. All right, so x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. All right, so negative 30 plus or minus the square root of something over 12. All right, so just like we did in the last lesson and the lesson before, type that into your calculator. All right, and when you do that, you should end up with 36. All right, now, square root of 36 is 6. Now, solve for the two answers. Okay, let me go through that one more time on the calculator. So first I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go negative 30 plus 6. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to get a number, and then I'm going to divide that by 12. So one of the answers is negative 2. All right, and then take your calculator. Okay, take the negative 30. Now this time subtract 6, get an answer, and then divide that by 12. So the other answer is negative 3. So the two solutions to this are negative 2, negative 3. All right. Okay, plugging the numbers into this one, x equals negative b. Now be careful, B is already negative, so you got two negatives there. plus or minus the square root of, use your parentheses, please. So negative 11 squared minus 4 times 12 times negative 5. Make sure when we do the test, you show your work. All over 2a. All right, so let's see. We now have x equals, that becomes positive 11 plus or minus the square root of, okay, I'm going to type that in, and I get 361 all over 24. So now I have 11 plus or minus. Now the square root of 361, let's see, I don't have that, so I need to actually type that in. The square root of 361 is 19. All right, so plus or minus 19 divided by 24. All right, so again, we're going to do the plus 19 and we're going to do the minus 19. All right, so 11 plus 19 divided by 24, we're going to get 1.25. 11 minus the 19 divided by 24, we're going to get negative 0.3 repeating, and if you remember, that would be negative 1/3. All right, so you're going to have to be able to do the quadratic formula. Okay, then the last part. Okay, the last section here. A ball is thrown from the roof. Boy, that looks really familiar. Okay, there is a slight difference in the equation. So we want to know how high is the ball when it's after 1 second, 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 5.5 seconds. All right, so I'm just going to go quickly plug these in. Okay, so you got negative 16 times 1 squared plus 78 times 1 plus 100. Okay, I'm not going to take time to type that into the calculator, but you should practice typing it in. All right, let me get to the right page on my paper, and you should get an answer of 162 feet. Okay, the next one. Negative 16 times 2 squared plus 78 times 2 plus 100. All right, you should get 192 feet. 4 seconds. Type that in and you should get, I believe, 156 feet. And then the 5.5 seconds. Oops, let me fix that. And here you should get 45 feet. All right. At what time is the ball 40 feet off the ground? So we're going to set that equation equal to 0, or not to 0, sorry about that. We're going to set it equal to 40. So it's negative 16t squared plus 78t plus 100 equals 40. Okay, remember it must equal 0 to use the quadratic formula. So we're going to take away the 40. All right, so we get the negative 16t squared plus 78t plus 60 equals 0. All right, I'm not going to take time to plug that in. You should practice it. Plug it into the quadratic formula and see if you can get the following 2 answers. Okay, when you plug that in, you should get, now remember only one answer works. So whatever the negative answer is, okay, is not going to work. Okay, that one's not going to work. So The answer you should get, the only one that works, is, now this is a rounded answer, 5.55 seconds. Okay, it's 40 feet off the ground at 5.55 seconds. Okay, try to get that, practice it on your calculator, practice your quadratic formula, try to get that answer. All right, the last question, here we go. When will it hit the ground? When will it hit the ground? So we're going to take that equation and set it equal to 0, because that's when it hits the ground. It's no longer in the air. All right, again, just like we did in the last problem, you're going to plug that into your quadratic formula. All right, then you're going to come up with two answers. But remember, the negative answer, we can ignore it. We don't need it. The positive answer, you should get, again, this is rounded, 5.929 seconds. Again, practice using your calculator and practice using the quadratic formula on those. All right, that's going to be what the test looks like. It's not going to be quite that many problems, but if you understand this study guide, you're set. All right, good luck.